Welcome to the Real Comic Heroes Podcast. Your adventure into the world of comic book movies starts here.
Greetings, citizens, and welcome to another adventure of the Real Comic Heroes Podcast. My name is Travis.
And I'm Patrick.
And we have a very exciting episode today.
Sure. Whatever you say, buddy.
Yeah. I want to make you excited, damn it.
Oh, man. Well, you know what? Funny enough, that it does feel like I was sitting through some type of S&M while watching this.
Yeah.
So you telling me I have to watch it sort of fits in with that feeling. You know, just bossing me around, making me watch this unique and inspiring film.
Patrick, keep your kinks at home.
What? I got a whole room. What are you talking about? It's like swings and unicorns, all kinds of fun stuff.
Oh boy, we are off to an amazing start.
I blame the movie.
Okay,
It's damaged me.
Yeah.
All right. So we're here for Captain America.
That's right.
But not the one you think.
Yeah, we haven't suddenly jumped to 2014 or.
This is when the MCU was more PU than anything. We got Captain America with his interesting evasion skills in this movie to outwit his drivers.
Hey, I'm actually a fan of that.
Oh, man. Once I'll let it pass.
Yeah.
But 1990. You
Yeah.
didn't know it, but there was a movie, Captain America.
Got any taglines for this? For this movie?
Let's see. All right. Here we go. It looks like we don't have any taglines for this title yet. IMDb.
Oh, that doesn't count. You can't count that against the movie.
Be the first to contribute, so let's do this thing. All right.
Now that's a tagline. Be the first to contribute. So it's
Yeah.
safe to say you haven't found any taglines.
That's what the taglines say.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know the poster, the main poster that you see for this movie, it's just like the shield on a black screen, and it just says like coming to theaters this December, I think is what it says.
Yeah.
So that's one that's not really a tagline, but you know.
Yeah, it's more of a marketing verbiage.
Teaser, yeah.
But
I think it's probably safe to say that you and I have no history with this movie.
That is a safe assumption.
Okay. I did reach out like usual to the Facebook group, and I got a response from Brian Lockhart, who said, "I remember going to the theater and seeing that Captain America poster. Also, I have a fuzzy memory of a teaser trailer that was just like the poster, just the shield and coming soon. Then it never came out. Saw it on video, and it's terrible, but my buddy and I loved it." So, yeah, this is a...
I could see that.
This is a case... This is one of those movies that they marketed, basically just a little bit. Teaser poster and a teaser trailer, which I did see on YouTube, which is just a shield coming at the screen. And then, like, crickets, then the movie just never came out. And then I think they finally put out a trailer, might have been for its home video release, I think. So it's just kind of one of those movies that just, I don't know if it lost its distribution, lost its funding, what it was, but...
bad reviews from test audiences or something.
That it could be, yeah. So it's one of those movies that really never came to theater, and so people like Brian, and it's just one of those unfulfilled promises. So,
all right. Well, I could definitely see this being one of those midnight movies.
Okay. Yeah.
And I was shocked by the people in the movie. Like, I wasn't expecting Ned Beatty or Ronnie Cox in it.
I would agree with you with Ned Beatty, but I'm not surprised to see Ronnie Cox in this movie.
Well, I think it's more because right now I think of him as the dude from Terminator with a big role in an awesome movie, but
You mean RoboCop?
or did I say Terminator? Yeah,
Yeah.
RoboCop.
Okay. See, to me, that it feels on par with something like this
Sure.
in the time that this would have come out. I will say, like up front, I don't think this movie is that bad. I think there are bad things in it. I think there are really some cheesy things, but when the action gets going, like I'm pretty into this movie. But we'll get into it, in specifics. But
Pull over the podcast. Oh, I'm gonna be sick.
oh no, Patrick's going to start his own podcast. He's going to leave me on the side of the road.
Okay. Let's just do this. It's like a
Okay.
Band-Aid. Let's just get it over with.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we start off in like 1936 Italy. There's no subtitles, I noticed. And later I think there are subtitles, so it leads me to believe that this is intentional lack of subtitles.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. And it's like these Nazis are coming to get this boy, or I guess I don't know if they're shown as being Nazis at this point, but they want the kid for like their supreme intelligence or something like that, and it's actually kind of a brutal opening sequence because they come into this house and they basically ransack the place. And I actually like the overall tone and the music and the lighting. I think worked really well in this opening sequence. So kind of waiting for Indiana Jones to bust in.
Yeah. So they're going after him because he's like a child prodigy, and they want to. But I thought that was just for music. Is he like a prodigy in other areas?
Not sure.
That confused me later on. I was like,
yeah,
okay.
It may have been an overall aptitude of high intelligence and I don't know.
Got his report card from grade school.
Yeah,
They're like, this is our guy.
I think so. Yeah.
I had Nightmare Fuel a little bit in.
Okay.
The Red Skull.
Yeah, the red rat. Yeah, I like that.
I was kind of disappointed he didn't hang out with the Red Skull later. Like they were like it was like his evil cat.
Oh, okay.
Kind of thing. But
yeah,
I guess rat life expectancy. He'd be dead in that 7-year jump forward weekend. Although maybe not, because it's like Red Skull rat. So
yeah.
Who knows? But that was oddly effective.
Sure.
And
kind of showing you what is going to happen with him when they strap him in the chair and all that.
Yeah. So
yeah,
I'll give the movie credit where it's due, but
sure.
I like the doctor. It's realizing a little slow, I might add, but realizing that they're gonna do this what they did to the rat to this boy.
Right.
So
do you think it's like a motherly instinct kicking in that leads her to try to protect him, or
maybe part of that, but I think it's more maybe she didn't realize they were going straight to human trials or something.
Oh, maybe.
Because I mean they literally just did a rat. So
and it is like if you're going from and we only see that they've done a rat so far. Maybe there have been other, but this I think you're probably right. I think this is the first human trial, and they're starting with a kid, so that's a little extreme.
Yeah, I mean, maybe if it was like an older guy, she'd be like, all right.
Yeah, or a volunteer, something like that. Like maybe that's what it is. Just
kidnap.
Yeah. Yeah, and then we jump to California. Like 7 years later, it's like 1943.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, is this like a thread in the comics? Because I always thought he was Bronx.
Yeah, definitely. And they make a point of saying that, or Brooklyn in the MCU, they make a point of it being Brooklyn. As far as I know, his origin has always been he grew up in the Great Depression in New York.
Okay.
I think I've read versions where he grows up with his mother and his father is an abusive alcoholic. I think that's one of the more recent kind of backstories in the comics for Captain America. but I think he can play around with his parents a little bit. But generally, yeah, he's a kid, pre-war 1940s in New York.
Okay.
So moving it to California is, maybe it's just to make it a little easier for production, so you don't have to. I think it's probably more expensive to shoot in New York, and creating a fake New York, like on a soundstage, may have just been may have been too much.
Yeah.
But it's not a big deal to show that he's from California.
It just threw me off right away. I was like,
Yeah.
what?
Oh, yeah. And it really threw me off because we meet Steve and we see Melinda Dillon playing his mother, and it's weird seeing her. And I associate her with Christmas Story and Slapshot. So to see her here as his mother, and the age difference doesn't look
I thought
far
it was
enough
sister.
apart. I did too.
Yeah. I was like, man, it's got a hot mom.
Yeah. It's hard to show. Obviously, this is 1990. They don't have the technology and the kind of the same tricks that they're able to use to show Steve as the 98-pound weakling that he's that he is in the comics. I mean, that's aside from him generally being from New York, that's usually the number one thing about Steve Rogers pre Captain America. He's this 98-pound, just skinny rail of a kid who I may have some kind of, I forget if it's like polio. I think.
Yeah, they said polio in this movie at least.
Okay. So yeah, it's hard to show this guy, Matt Salinger, as being that weak kind of kid. So I did notice they added a limp.
Yeah. I thought they would have just done the Incredible Hulk thing where they get one actor to play the little version and then one to play the Captain America version. That would have been the easiest way to do that rather than slightly plumping up his appendages or whatever they do. I think one of them was kind of cool though. It showed his tendon kind of and his knee kind of reconnecting or doing something. I thought that was kind of cool.
Probably healing his leg or something. And the nice thing is this all moves along pretty quick. So it's like he's kind of, it's like going away party because I was confused. It's like he's going to join the army. There's no way they're going to take him with that limp, But then, once they get him into this program and, he's being taken underground to this facility, and you realize, okay, they're specifically looking for someone who's not, necessarily army ready to start with. So, we meet the girlfriend kind of before he gets, leaves the I guess he leaves the party, goes and finds his girlfriend.
Bernie.
Bernie, yeah.
I thought it was Birdie for a while, but it was Bernie.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, he runs all over the state of California to find her with his gimpy leg.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the whole party's waiting for that picture to be taken. But, I think that's just to establish that he's obsessed with her.
Yeah, have the girl back home so that they can kind of reignite or reestablish that love connection later.
Yeah. And how about the soundtrack for this movie?
I didn't notice it necessarily. I mean,
I noticed it in his farewell when he's driving away. It was just awful.
Driving away and smoking, I noticed. That was a surprise.
Hey, might as well. He's getting a whole new rehaul on the body.
Yeah,
so.
You guys are going to swap out these lungs, right?
He might die in this process, so.
Yeah.
And it's the 40s or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
So, smoke them if you got them.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much else before they, toss him in this... chair
with lights.
I don't know. Chair, yeah, they, give him the treatment and basically just turn him into Captain America right away. So, and they, this is kind of the Dr. Vaselli is her name. She's the one from the opening who ran away from the kind of the Red Skull procedure, and kind of replacing the Dr. Erskine from the comics. But I like this version too. Like this is totally fine. They kind of do the there's a spy there during the procedure who kills her, and then I forget. Does he get away? Does Captain America stop him?
Captain America gets shot pretty bad and stops.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. So I think he throws him into like an electrical panel or something.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Yeah.
After he just goes, "Hey," and then I'm gonna shoot you. Boom.
And that kind of adds to the like with her being killed, it removes the knowledge of how to do this again, and then probably by him throwing the assassin into the electrical panel, it probably also ruins the equipment so that you also can't necessarily do it again. So I always liked the you were the only one type of history to Captain America.
Yeah, but luckily she left her journal there and nobody bothered to pick it up or clean out the drawers after 75 years or whatever.
Right.
Or not 75, it'd be like 40-something years.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking today.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah.
It's kind of nice, like 17 minutes into the movie, and he is in costume, and like he's got a reason to be on a mission. He's so I like how quickly it moves here in the beginning. So
he gets shot, and then he's good to go for a mission.
Yeah. I really love, once they start showing him in the mask and the mask with the army gear, like the army helmet and the jacket and stuff. It's so Ultimates. Like I didn't know. Like I thought the Ultimates comics. I don't know if you're familiar with those. So in 2000, like the 2000s, they came out with the Ultimates, which is set in a alternate universe. So it's basically gives them the ability to redo all of the Marvel universe, kind of with an updated spin. Like they did Spider-Man, and he grows up in the 90s and is a teenager in the 2000s. So it's just basically lets them bring everything to modern day and slightly tweak the origins. And so with the Ultimates, that's what they called the Avengers. And you have, kind of, again, brings Captain America, like he gets frozen in the 40s and then doesn't get thawed out until like around the 2000s. So it just kind of brings everybody kind of just a fresh coat of paint on some things. And one of the ways they showed Captain America is like in the flashbacks and in the 40s era, he's got the costume on, but then he adds the helmet, the goggles, the jacket, the boots, like which I thought originated in Ultimates, and then they used kind of some of that look in the MCU Captain America when he goes on his first mission. Like he's still wearing the suit, but he covers it with some army gear. Yeah, which I just love that look. So it was a real treat for me to see that here, which would predate Ultimates even, by 10 years. So
nice.
Well, Ultimates is kind of what they use a lot of that for the MCU. Like when you look at their version of Nick Fury, it was their idea to just basically say, like, if you look at the renderings of Nick Fury, you can tell, like, well, we would cast Samuel L. Jackson. And so it was a perfect circle when they, actually did cast Samuel L. Jackson as Nick Fury. So lots of little things came from the Ultimates for the MCU, but it's nice to see something that may have kind of inspired,
Yeah, but that's best thing of this movie, I guess.
I really don't mind the costume. It's a little like the body suit of it, like especially the abs, feels very similar to the Batman costume from '89, which makes sense, just kind of a hard rubber section on the abs, and similar with the mask. You can tell it's like a rubber mask that he has to pull over his face. So, but again, I don't hate it. I really kind of like the look of him throughout most of this.
Okay, there's something I noticed at the end of this.
Okay.
It bugged me, but I just let it go until the very end when I was like, oh, holy hell. His ears?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
At first I thought, okay, man, why do his ears look all weird? Yeah. And then they showed a close-up, and I think those were fake ears.
they did put fake ears on the outside of the suit. I don't know why. It may have been the mask may have moved around. It may have been tough to keep the ear holes around his real ears. I don't know. I honestly I don't know why they did that.
It was.
I will say
so distracting.
Was it? Okay.
Well,
see,
I keep seeing it because I see the weird Hermes white wings above the ear.
Sure.
And I'm not used to that anymore.
Okay.
So
yeah.
it draws my eyes to that, and then I saw the ear, and I'm like, what the hell is that? Why is his ear so weird looking?
Yeah.
I was like, did they cover that in something? And then I'm like,
right.
I think that's just a fake ear.
It totally is. I knew about the fake ears. You know, it's one of those things you kind of just
it's like a okay.
Kind of, you know. And so I had kind of forgotten about that, and then while I was watching it, I never noticed it while I was watching it. And then it got brought up kind of in you know, looking into the movie and seeing what other people had to say. It was you know, some comments like, you know, oh, those ears, they look terrible, you know. And it's like, oh, yeah, I forgot that the ears were fake. So to me, it wasn't distracting. You know, I get that if you noticed them, it would be a little strange. But, yeah, the ears didn't bother me too much. I thought they looked convincing, and I don't...
I was fine until the end where they had the close-up on his side profile, and I'm like... And it's, like, right there. Like, at first I was like, maybe it's just weird because it's like sectioned off from his face.
Yeah.
Like I was like, okay, whatever. But then I was like, oh hell no. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I think it was after I don't think I noticed it until he was unfrozen for a while.
Okay.
It started sticking out to me, and then at the end battle at the Fortress of Solitude or whatever, that's when I was like, oh, okay, those are not his ears.
Yeah. The thing I hate about the costume is the little wings.
Yeah.
I've never liked that with Captain America. I've never liked the little wings. I like the way they did it with the MCU because they do give him a little bit more of a helmet to wear, and they just kind of paint, you know, what look like wings on the side of it. So I like the way that they kind of modernized it, but
yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, I've never liked the little ears.
So
or wings.
Yeah. My second favorite actor in this film is our I think he's like Lieutenant Colonel, the guy that's got the mustache and like sort of his liaison of sorts.
Oh, okay.
Up front. I just really enjoyed him in this for some reason. Like I thought honestly, he kind of reminded me of Tony Stark's dad for a bit.
Yeah, I think I noticed that too.
But I liked his sort of... He was like a Captain America of his own. Like, he just seemed like he was the perfect guy to have in this to guide him along. Because he's all about country and da-da-da-da-da. And I was like... I don't know. Something about him just struck me. Like, as a perfect 40s... like propaganda man. I don't know. Yeah. Whatever it was, it worked for me, and I really was bummed out that he was gone already.
Yeah, because once it's like he's suited up and he's on this mission, you know, and you meet Red Skull, and he goes up against this kind of fortress, and he's horrible at being covert.
Oh yeah. Well, he doesn't know what he's doing. He hasn't any training.
That is true. Like it is kind of weird to like take this guy and it's like, well, you have some powers, so that should be enough, right?
Yeah.
But I did notice that like they do some decent tricks with like darkness and camera tricks to cover up the powers, you know, with throwing the shield or running and jumping and stuff like that. Like I think they do an okay job, at least here in the beginning, because it's all of this. It's just shrouded in darkness, so. Kind of hiding the
shield is its own thing.
Yeah.
There was one part where it may have been when Red Skull caught it. I was like, okay, that's a plastic frisbee.
Oh yeah. Like, the entire time it has the look and feel and weight of a plastic. Yeah. I'm just glad they don't use it as a windshield on the motorcycle this time and make it clear. Like that would be.
I kind of like that.
That would be bad.
I thought that was cool that they put it on the front of the bike. Not that it was clear or anything, but
Yeah,
I like the
I love it on the bike.
Yeah,
I hate it as a clear,
yeah, that's awful.
thing.
But it kind of makes sense because then you can see through it while you're ducking behind
Right.
it.
Right.
So it's got its merits. Let's not.
Yeah, I guess so.
I mean, visually it stinks, but
yeah,
for functionality, not a bad idea.
Yeah. Let's see. I really kind of like the look of Red Skull. He's got these milky, cloudy eyes that make it extra creepy.
Yeah. Well, that came from the rat. The rat had that too.
Oh, was it? Okay. Yeah.
But it made me think. I wrote down Skeletor. Like it had that same look where it's like a rubber mask, but it's still pretty decent.
Yeah.
You know?
See, that would have been perfect if they would have just taken the Skeletor, skull and just painted it red. That would have been perfect.
This is more of a Toxic Avenger / Freddy Krueger / Skeletor kind of mask. I don't know. It's like an amalgamation of the three.
It's more, melty face than it is skull. Yeah.
But it's not bad. Still terrifying to look at. And, it's red.
Yeah.
It's a skull. You get the idea.
Yeah.
But did you think, for a second, I thought the Red Skull was Ricardo Montalban? Just like the way he talked.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I gotta look who this is, because this dude sounds
just
like...
The guy playing Red Skull is the same guy that they showed like a few minutes earlier when Steve is in the hospital. It's like he's like the doctor who's I think talking to the guy that you were saying you liked. I think he's talking to him and telling him like, oh, he should be fine, or
Oh, okay. Yeah, I saw it said Army Doctor. So I was like, was he like spying or something? I was trying to figure out when he was the Army Doctor.
No, they just used the same actor for two roles,
Gotcha.
So, I was, once they get in the fight and they strap him to the rocket, I was super confused once the rocket was headed towards New York, or I guess to the States, and cuts to Washington, and we're like suddenly with this family and this kid that I have no idea. I thought we were going like further into the past and meeting a young Steve, like somehow like, him remembering something from being a kid, and then you see the rocket and him taking the picture of Captain America on the rocket, and that whole setup is really flimsy.
Yeah. Well, that and the kid can both actually can see each other.
Yeah. They make eye contact, and then that sudden like. Steve like kicks the fin of the rocket and it veers off, and
we missed a big thing. Red Skull sacrificed his piano playing by chopping off his hand.
Oh, that's right.
I was like, damn.
Which I kind of which I thought would come back kind of in the when we meet him again. Like they don't make anything out of him having like a bionic hand that I can remember.
It's just he gets angry about it a little bit. Like he looks down at it, and you're like, oh yeah, he cut off his hand. Anyway, back to the movie.
Yeah.
He still plays piano. I mean, he's got a piano prominently displayed on one of his turrets. So
yeah,
I don't know, but I thought it was just weird how that escalated. It's like we knocked him out. We're gonna tie him to a rocket, kind of like a old school serial, and then. He's gonna do one of his wacky, lame tricks. Hey, can I tell you something? Whoa, got your hand. And sure, that's all this guy knows how to do is like trick people. But and then he can't, get him to let go. But I guess you go straight to chopping off your own hand. But I don't know.
It's kind of weird because they kind of established that Red Skull seems stronger than Captain America.
And smarter. Why don't you chop off Captain America's hand? Just saying.
Holy shit, that would have made so much more sense.
Yeah, it was just I was like, what? Why? It's very perplexing. Apparently, that's doubling your intelligence didn't totally work on everything.
Yeah.
So anyway, that was my nitpick there.
Yeah. No, that's a good one. Yeah.
All right. So he's flying to Alaska now.
Yeah.
After the boy took a decent picture on a 40s camera. And I don't know, it looked like a big blob to me when they showed it in the room. But
I agree. Yeah, I'm glad they do the time jump here. I'm glad they do, stick with the kind of the classic story, and I'm glad they do it this way here to establish the origin and that he's lost to time and all that.
Yeah, I was, and I kind of like the passage of time with the newspaper and
Yeah,
Kimball working his way through the newspaper.
right. Yeah.
Because I was like, who the hell's Kimball?
Mm-hmm.
And then I
Yeah.
realized, it was the kid finally. But
Yeah. Yeah.
I thought, especially with the plot behind the president having this big summit about pollution and everything, it didn't really go anywhere. It was just sort of like a thing that they had going on. I mean, I guess it was motivating the bad guys because it was going to hurt their profits or something.
Sure.
But I thought it was going to tail into like polar caps melting, and that's how he gets out of the frozen thing. Like I thought it was going there.
Sure.
But they just came across his frozen fingertips in the
Yeah.
snow. But yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
It was so random. Just his fingers were hanging out up there.
Yeah. We kind of talked about him a little bit, Ronnie Cox as a president, and I think I just expect him to be a bad guy.
Yeah.
And so I
weird.
was, I think just because of RoboCop. And I just, so I kept waiting for like the villain turn for him, at least in the beginning, I do think that there was a missed opportunity with, I think his name is General Fleming.
Yeah.
He's the guy played by Darren Gavin, the old man from Christmas Story.
Yep.
They reveal him to be a bad guy, and I think you could have let that one simmer.
Wasn't he also the guy that brought the Nazi guy?
Yes.
Okay.
In the opening.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But I think you could have kind of, either don't make it clear that he is that same guy from the past, or just play with it a little bit so that he maybe reveals his, villainy later on, like second act kind of thing.
Oh, I gotcha. Yeah. It goes straight away to, can't trust him.
Yeah. And we do see, the new Red Skull, and
I don't like it.
What's
I
that?
don't like it.
Okay.
It's so weird and creepy.
I don't hate the choice to cover the red.
It made me think of Dick Tracy villain. Like, that's what it looked like to me, and I couldn't get it out of my head.
Sure. I kept waiting for an explanation for it, though. Like some sort of is he wearing a mask over his red face? Has he somehow undergone some procedure that has, made his skin more natural? When we saw him in 1943, was it because it hadn't healed yet? And this is just the result of him. Like,
well,
I don't know. I kept waiting for.
I think they said he had extensive plastic surgery.
Oh, that's right. That's right. He kind of kept changing his appearance throughout the years or something like that. Yeah.
So I think it was just to, stay, elusive more than anything.
Yeah,
it's kind of obvious finding a dude with a big red head.
True. Yeah.
Unless you're, wearing a hood or a mask or something, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Well, somebody needed fake ears. It's that guy.
Yeah.
But...
I do dig how excited President Kimball gets when he finds out about Captain America and just takes him back to like his childhood, and he immediately calls his buddy Sam, and that's when we meet Ned Beatty, and I really liked that interaction, that kind of that setup. That it's something that they've been working on since they were kids. I really like that idea. And it's not like they know anything. I mean, they the one kid saw a rocket, with a guy on it, but the world itself didn't know about Captain America, so.
Yeah, it was like 2 people, 4 people,
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, we get Captain America paranoia trip, not knowing. Yeah. I love the car ride with Ned Beatty.
Oh, yeah, that was fantastic.
It's just like, okay, it's made in West Germany.
Yeah.
It was interesting.
Yeah, he's got the Japanese like audio recorder and the Volkswagen, and I really like that setup.
Yeah.
Before that, you got a really great forest chase. When he's on the run from Red Skull's like
daughter,
which I like that he has a daughter here, a character in the comics. Her name is Sin, and she's the daughter of Red Skull, and she's kind of in the mid 2000s. She was kind of a big deal.
Does she have powers?
I don't think so. Just eventually, she ended up being like a Red Skull herself.
Like went through a similar procedure.
Kind of, but not like. I think hers was more like she got burned. More of a burn victim instead of like undergoing a procedure. Gotcha. So I kind of in my head I was like, okay, so this his daughter here is Sin, and that worked for me.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And again, just with the forest chase, I was really impressed at how good the suit looks in motion during the daytime. They didn't have to keep disguising it with the cover of darkness.
Yeah.
Let's see. So yeah, we have Patrick's favorite moment where Steve gets control of the car.
It's such bad acting. It's so awful. And this is the good one. It gets worse.
Yeah.
This one, I'm like, oh, okay, that's kind of weak and seems like a 12-year-old came up with that plan, but hey. But that's his go-to move.
Yeah. For me, I didn't know this was coming, so
I didn't either.
I was like, why is Captain America needing to pull over to get sick? So I was completely, sold.
I thought it was like thaw sickness or something. Like I didn't.
Sure.
I was like, okay, I guess. I
was like, is this movie really taking time to show Captain America getting sick because it's all too much, which would be understandable, but it's like it's not something I want to see in my Captain America movie. He should be able to handle anything, that sort of thing. But I like that it was a ruse. At
no point in this movie do I feel like Captain America has a handle on it.
Yeah.
Now, his sidekick, Bernice's daughter, her, I can get behind. Cap, not so much.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll get into it later, but yeah. And by the way, she is the best actor in the movie.
Oh, you think so?
Oh, when her mom was dead, that was the best acting.
Yeah,
by far.
That was an intense
intense
scene.
Yeah. So she's got the Oscar for this one.
Yeah, the whole going back home or going back to her house and meeting her at a now older age and all that stuff was, I thought, handled pretty well. There was kind of a weird bit with like her husband comes home and there's this young guy like embracing his wife, and all that felt a little weird.
It was like watching somebody have to watch their wife with another dude.
Yes, that's exactly how it seemed. Like
so awkward. And he doesn't say anything, he just stands and stares. It's so bad.
Yeah.
It's so bad.
And so I kind of like was waiting for that guy to call somebody and say, yeah, that guy you've been looking for, he's making the moves on my wife,
But this has one of those songs I was talking about.
Okay.
While he's like hitchhiking across America to get to Bernie. The song, I don't know if it's called this, but it's Memories of You, Girl. And it's Memories of You, Girl. Yeah. It's just so bad.
What?
Please listen to it again. It is so awful.
Okay.
The music in this movie was so distracting to me for whatever reason.
Yeah.
It was like watching 90210 like on Hulu because they don't have the music rights. So they find substitute, music for that music that's just not as good. That's what it sounds like. It's like, this was an epic song, but we don't have the rights to that, so let's put it in this song that kind of sounds like it.
Gotcha. Yeah. So I had to do a little bit of math because I was like, I don't know, like what's the age difference here and stuff. And I forget.
He goes in at 44, right? Or something.
It was 43, okay. And then this is supposed to be 1990, so that's 47 years. And so I forget when, but I'm pretty sure they mentioned that she was 22.
Yeah, because she talked about waiting 16 years before having kids or something.
Yeah. So she'd be 69 here in 1990, which is a believable time jump. And,
Yeah.
It's one of those things that now I'm so used to the idea of like Captain America going and finding Peggy Carter, in today. And it's like she'd be 97 today.
Yeah.
So it's weird that the time difference with the movie, then versus now, and it's like here it works because the time difference is so much smaller.
They're gonna have to move his origin story to like the Gulf War soon.
Yeah.
Because it's gonna be like 100 years pretty soon.
The nice thing about his origin being set in World War II and then him being frozen is that you can thaw him out whenever you want to. So
it's just you lose the ties to his past easier.
Right, that's true.
Like, it's been over 100 years, so everyone's long since died.
Yeah.
Because another 24 years and it's 100 years.
Right.
So, yeah.
So I got to be honest, I had no idea that the actress playing young Bernie was the same.
Oh, really?
Playing the daughter.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
I wrote down it looks like Back to the Future makeup, and it's pretty good. Like, I thought it was really well done.
Yeah, I had no idea throughout I think when I finally went on to IMDb and was looking at the actors and I saw that it was Kim Gillingham playing Bernice and Sharon, I was like, oh shit, I had just no idea. I guess the hair color and style was enough of a change to completely change her look that it fooled me. And I guess they kind of do some clever, camera work showing Steve getting to the house and Sharon showing up, and then you see the mother, but it not, they're never on screen at the same time.
Yeah, he does like a weird flashback thing with her, to show how much he looks like her.
Yeah, I guess it was missed on me. So, but I like her as Sharon throughout the movie, and I hope that's a nod to Sharon Carter, kind of Captain America's longtime girlfriend in the comics. The niece, or I forget. I think they've changed it. What her relationship to Peggy Carter is. But,
but I thought she was much better as Sharon.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure.
She didn't get much to do as Bernice.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Other than pine over somebody.
I was really shocked at the death of,
I was like, holy hell.
shooting the dad, who again, it's like, this guy has had a bad day. Like, first he gets cucked by Captain America, and now he gets shot.
And Captain America runs off with his daughter.
Yeah, and just killing Bernie was an actual surprise. I was not expecting that.
I thought they were going to kidnap her. That would make more sense if you want Captain America. I don't.
Right.
And then Captain America doesn't even seem all that upset.
Yeah.
The daughter's way more upset than Cap is, even at the hospital with the dad laying there.
Yeah.
He's like, she was old. I don't know. It was just weird.
Yeah.
Somebody that he's been obsessed with, and then she's dead, and he has zero reaction to it. It's never
Well, especially because it's to him. This has all happened within the same, couple weeks.
Yeah, I don't know. I just didn't buy any of that.
Yeah.
Which made that acting to the death so much better.
Yeah. Let's see. So
they go to Italy.
They do.
Is
this before they go to back to the cafe and they go underground?
Yeah, they go there, and I think that's how they figure out Italy. Because of her journal notes about the boy from some specific area.
Yeah.
Or actually, no, they don't know the specific area yet. That's right.
Sure. The fight that takes place in the underground base sucks.
Yep.
Here is definitely where they're using the darkness and to cover everything, and just bad Foley, just bad audio for the fight. It's just, I thought, was really poorly done.
I didn't even know who he was fighting. I was just like, who is this?
And I'm glad that that's kind of the only. I mean, I mentioned the one earlier when he gets to the base and fights Red Skull, and then there's this one. Other than that, the rest of the fights from here on out are going to be like daytime, and you can see things a lot better. And I think they work a lot better. So it's like here we're getting the bad ones out of the way, with this. But
so I honestly thought he was going to grab their feet when they were coming down the stairs.
I did too,
because that's his style. Like
prankstery. Yeah. Well, using stealth instead of out and out front fighting. Yeah. I did notice that, we go to Italy, and locations wise, I feel like this is where they spent their money, and locations look good, and they do a good job of establishing that they're not just shooting everything in California, So I think that the movie has that going for it. And I guess in all honesty, the production is probably primarily based in Italy, because this was kind of one of those movies that, was kind of tangentially like in the Cannon film, kind of like one of the guys from Cannon Films did this movie. And so really the location shoot would have been going out to California. Everything else would have probably been shot on sound stages or in studios in Italy. So
gotcha.
The time that is spent going, like they get this radio, the recording device that we saw from the beginning of the movie, recording him playing piano.
Oh yeah.
Like they take that device to this old, some old man's shop, and really all we see the old man do is press play. And so it's like, why?
Well, that and
either
he's the old guy says, in all my years I've never seen this, but Captain America has, because he had one when he was a boy. And
sure, I buy that.
I don't know. It was so stupid. It was just a waste of time.
Exactly. Like, come up with a different reason to be playing the audio, or show that he has to fix it before it can be played. I don't know.
Put some subtitles to it so I know what the hell it's saying. It's like
maybe, yeah.
I thought I was supposed to figure something out, but I was like, isn't this from the beginning of the movie?
I will say this the movie kind of hits a turning point here where it turns into a Bond movie.
Yeah.
And it honestly, it sucked me in. From here on, it kind of had me. It's a little unfortunate that, we don't see him in costume running around, but I'm kind of okay with it. Like, just seeing him and Sharon running around Italy, like I said, it felt very Bond to me. They're both in that tiny little car. Yeah. I really liked this part of it. It's unfortunate that from so much of it, he's hauling around that big ass bag with his shield and his uniform in it. That's an unfortunate thing that he has to be, saddled with.
Yeah.
But.
And I like that they find out the lair because his daughter leaves her purse with her ID in it. I'm like,
yeah.
Okay, I think that's like bad guy 101. Don't carry your real ID with you.
Sure.
But maybe that's just me. I was like, okay, This is how we figure it out, really? Not tailing somebody, but finding their driver's license.
Yeah.
I don't know. Again, this movie, it tries and then it just falls on its face. It's like Charlie Brown.
And I feel like there are a couple moments with Red Skull in and around this section, and I kind of zoned out, and I have no idea what his overall plan is.
It's to become president.
Completely.
He's gonna mind control. Kimball, and I don't know how that's supposed to work. He can't just make somebody president. I don't. It's the stupidest plot I've ever heard. Like, what's the end game? Now you're the president.
Yeah, no, I don't know.
Whoop-de-doo? Like, that's gonna work?
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. It's a flimsy plan at best.
Yeah. But pretty quick we have, Captain America and Red Skull facing off against each other again. And we get a shot of the two of them staring at each other. Like it's kind of close up, and it's I think Captain America's on like the left hand side of the screen, and Red Skull's on the right, and it's cutting between them. Visually, I thought that was a great use of showing them. And then you get the daytime like fight scene at this this fortress, Red Skull's fortress here in Italy, which looks great.
Yeah,
I think they seeing it like this made me wonder, like, why did you guys hide so much of the action in the earlier scenes? Because that suit looks great in motion, and they're clearly able to cut and edit and make a really nice looking fight scene. So I really like the stuff with the action here in Italy. And
yeah, I mean the action wasn't too bad in this portion, but the acting was still garbage.
Yeah.
And I think Chris Evans is the only one that's been able to pull this off so far with being a Boy Scout. Because like there's a part here where it reminded me of the music video for Big Me by the Foo Fighters, where they're doing the Futos, like it's like a Mentos ripoff.
The fresh make, yeah.
Thanks, Mr. President, or whatever. Like I just he didn't do a thumbs up, but I pictured him doing a thumbs up when he said it. Like it was just so cheesy.
And there is a thumbs up in this movie.
Yeah, that too. But
I once I had a real big smile on my face when it's like Captain America and the President teaming up with each other. Like that really gave me a charge. I liked seeing that, and just seeing how much inspiration it gave Kimball. I
felt like he was more confident than Captain America.
I mean, kind of, but I think part of that is him drawing on Cap's confidence.
Well, before that, he had like a plan to get out with the acid, and like he's smarting off, and then he actually does one of the more heroic moments and jumps from the building to stop the plan. I mean, Captain dislocates his shoulder by catching him on the side of the wall there. But I don't know. I just like the President more than Captain America.
He was good in this. Yeah, I did like that. There's a great sequence that I loved with the I think it's just kind of the editing, and it's when Captain America had his shield, and he's being shot at with a machine gun, and it's like it's super quick cuts back and forth. It's like they almost cut every bullet, like every time a bullet is fired, like they cut between him and the shield and the gun, and it was really, I thought, really great.
I liked his rolling move. When
I did too. I like that.
Best movie had. Aside from Carson. That's
yeah, absolutely.
But, I don't understand the bomb device and
didn't
why
either.
It didn't go off.
No, I kept waiting for him to throw the shield and cut off his hand again. But what was he? He was planning to blow up themselves, and I guess all of Southern Europe. I guess
he said it was going to be off limits for the next 150 years or something. Like it was a nuke, because he said like megaton.
But I guess like
I don't know if it was inside the castle or. It's also right by the ocean, so it's probably going to go out that way. I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, it was weird. I thought like either he was going to hit the device with his shield or chop his hand off. And then with the daughter, it kind of alluded that he took her head off, because he says heads up, and then you don't know what happened to her when it came back.
You just chop her head off?
I think he did. Because that's what you say when you do something like that. Everyone knows that.
Yeah. This overall final standoff I thought was pretty lame.
I thought he was going to play the piano or something. Like
I did too. I was waiting for something like somehow like more.
There was like
moody
there was no like great villain like moment. Like it was just like, I'm just going to blow us all up. I give up. Oh, that's my old sad music that I used to play, and then I got kidnapped.
Yeah.
That didn't do anything.
Not really. A little bit of a distraction, I guess,
but I was just like, oh, I hate this. I sat through an hour and change for this.
Yeah. ultimately it ends with Cap turning like face to camera, and then they do a freeze frame, and
cartoon,
then they cut to like a publicity still, and then transitions to a drawing. So real weird. I don't know.
And then they talk about how this really helped by getting them to sign that accord for pollution, and then an odd message that we don't understand. Thank you, Cap, wherever you are, or something like that.
Yeah.
It's just, what?
Yeah.
Oh, every part of that ending sucked. I just.
Yeah.
Okay, well, at least you finished where you started.
Sure. Yeah, and then there's the I guess original for this movie "Home of the Brave" song that is playing over the credits, and it's so cheesy.
It fits with the rest of the music.
It does. Yeah.
And then I felt a lot better once I knew it was done. So hooray.
We were supposed to have a guest on this episode. It would have been Sean Malloy from I Must Break This podcast. He does a Dolph Lundgren centric podcast going through Dolph's career in movies, and we had him on our Master of the Universe episode. We were going to have him on this episode. We just couldn't work out the scheduling and everything, but Sean went ahead and recorded his thoughts on this movie. This is a movie that is kind of near and dear to Sean, so, first off, apologies, Sean, that, for us ripping this movie apart, but I don't think we were too savage with it. And I think Sean kind of understands that this movie is not, it's not a great movie, but it means a lot to him. Like, he loves this movie. So I'm going to play his kind of audio essay on his thoughts on Captain America.
Hello, listeners. This is Sean Malloy of I Must Break This podcast, the Dolph Lundgren fan podcast. And today I'm talking slightly outside of the cinematic career of Dolph Lundgren, this time providing my insight and perhaps slightly biased opinions on one of the first cinematic interpretations of a Marvel Comics character, 1990's reviled Captain America. Now, before I tell you about my experiences with the film, I should probably first tell you that outside of Dolph Lundgren, of course, Captain America has always been my favorite hero. Back in the 80s and 90s, Captain America was not necessarily the go-to hero and face of Marvel Comics that he is today. Sure, his image and costume were iconic, but in 1992, if you liked comics, especially Marvel Comics, it was Spider-Man and the X-Men, particularly Wolverine, who were the face of Marvel. These were the cool heroes, the ones who made going to comic shops acceptable. Captain America, on the other hand, was the do-gooder, the upstanding, noble face of America, who many viewed at the time as not being cool enough to read. And this is precisely why I gravitated to the Star-Spangled Avenger. It also helped that he had an amazingly flashy costume, as well as the fact that he was blonde. When you're a blonde kid who reads comics, finding a hero who was also blonde was difficult, thus establishing a kindred link between the hero and I. Captain America was my first mail subscription, and I have vivid memories of waiting for each issue to arrive in its signature polybag. In fact, when I was 9 years old, I makeshifted my own Captain America costume to wear for Halloween. To my knowledge, a Cap Halloween costume didn't exist at the time, and the few superhero costumes that were available certainly didn't have the cool padded muscles that they have nowadays. So imagine my excitement of going to the movie theaters in 1989 and 1990 and seeing the poster for Captain America in the main lobby. It was a simplistic image, a teaser poster, similar to the Batman poster in 1989. Just an image of Cap's shield with the words, "Coming in spring 1990. Only the film never came, and this left me, Cap's #1 fan, in a pre-internet age, waiting for my hero to come to life, in a film that seemed like it was never arriving. No pictures, no trailers, just a poster to whet my excitement. Then one day, in the summer of 1992, I was at my local video store when the VHS cassette stood out at me. Or more specifically, it was Captain America pointing his shield right at me. Captain America, in his signature red, white, and blues, throwing his shield at the viewer with a light blue background, was on the cover. Only this was Captain America in real life. This wasn't a cartoon or an illustration. This was the real Cap. You see, back around this time, comics-based movies were still a bit of a taboo. We had Christopher Reeve's Superman, Michael Keaton's Batman, and Lou Ferrigno's Incredible Hulk. But other than those incarnations, the idea of adapting a superhero wasn't seen. Quite the difference from nowadays, when a new superhero-based film is gracing the big screen each week, and stars like Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Hemsworth are synonymous with the characters of Iron Man and Thor. But back in 1992, that figure on that box art, that was Captain America. My parents graciously rented the movie for me, on a school night no less, and it was a glorious 100 minutes. Now, I will address the elephant in the room here and admit that Captain America is not a great movie. And as I watch the film through my adult eyes, its shortcomings are evident. Yes, I'm well aware that the ears on Cap's costume are made of rubber, and there are also a few moments that border on absurdity. For example, why would the Red Skull strap Captain America to the rocket with his shield? Yet as a 9-year-old who was viewing this through my child eyes, I really didn't even notice this, nor did it bother me. Neither did the Red Skull's lack of to make him look like an actual skull. In a weird way, I remember almost justifying it to myself. This is what the world of Captain America would look like in real life. It was the same justification that I used to rationale the change in costumes used with the Masters of the Universe movie, also produced by Menahem Golan. It's also important to note and acknowledge how relatively faithful to the source material the film is. It successfully balances Cap's World War II origins while transplanting him into a modern-day society, a pivotal story and characteristic of the character. And while the film was made on an extremely low budget, it's important to acknowledge the talent who are working on screen. The film boasts a fairly impressive cast. Ronny Cox and Ned Beatty reunite from Deliverance, and Darren McGavin and Melinda Dillon, Ralphie's parents from A Christmas Story, have brief but noticeable roles. Regarding the leads, Scott Pollan is chilling as the Red Skull. One can tell that he's relishing in his performance. Watch out for him pulling double duty playing the doctor in the hospital as well. As for Steve Rogers and his alter ego, Captain America, well, Matt Salinger wouldn't have been my first choice. First of all, he's not blonde, which I noticed immediately, and he seems to be running from his attackers rather than being heroic and challenging them head on. But I will say that there is a certain innocence and naivete to his performance that is nice to see. It's almost as if he views himself as being unworthy of living up to this iconic hero, hence him not wearing the costume throughout the entire second act. Then there's Albert Pyun, the film's director. Pyun has been around the block for years directing, and while his cyborg, kickboxing, and urban thrillers are not necessarily my cup of tea, the guy does know how to cut corners on limited budgets. After all, he salvaged the aborted Masters of the Universe sequel and utilized the costumes and sets for the Jean-Claude Van Damme cult classic, Cyborg. And while I would have certainly loved some more action-packed chase scenes and a finale that I knew my hero was worthy of, I was accepting of it then, and I appreciate it even more now. It's almost endearing and dopey in a way. Sure, the real Captain America that I grew up reading wouldn't run from his attackers on the streets of Italy and then jump on a bicycle, but I can't help but laugh at moments like that. As for the finale, the final fight is fun, and Cap's one-liner to Red Skull's daughter as she is knocked out by Cap's shield still kicks ass to this day. In case you forgot, Cap smugly warns her, "Heads up," as his shield knocks her out. So is Captain America the best adaptation of the character and the best Marvel film? Well, compared with what we have today, probably not. After all, the Marvel films today have 10 times the budget of the 1990 film, but it's important to note that Marvel had quite the rough run cinematically compared to where they're at today. There was the disastrous Howard the Duck movie, and Dolph Lundgren's The Punisher, which thankfully audiences have started coming around on as being the best interpretation of that character. And then this film. Marvel had also filed for bankruptcy, hence a company like Canon Films being able to secure the rights to characters like Captain America and Spider-Man. So no, comparatively to Chris Evans' turn as Steve Rogers and Cap, Matt Salinger and his director Albert Pyun really don't have much to stand on. But in a time where superheroes on screen were few and far between, and in an age without internet, where all we had was a poster, and if we were lucky a trailer, and to a 9-year-old blonde-haired kid who went trick-or-treating in a homemade Captain America costume, 1990's Captain America was just the ticket. Major thanks to Travis Bowe for this opportunity for letting me sound off on this classic. Anyone else who's interested in listening to more of my opinions, musings, and analyses, please check out my podcast, I Must Break This Podcast, the fan podcast that looks at the films of another larger-than-life hero, Dolph Lundgren. Thanks again, guys, and I'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Sean.
Yeah.
Thanks for sending that in.
Sorry. It's like a home movie. It's not it's not a work of art, but it means something to you.
Yeah. And it's interesting, like, the way Sean speaks about this Captain America movie, I totally get it, because that's the way I feel about Masters of the Universe. It's the one that, it may not be great, but I love it, and I can't see the flaws in it, that sort of thing.
I got Spaceballs.
Yeah, there you go.
So
yeah, and it was really interesting, like, because he does talk about how, you wait for this movie to come out, in theaters, you're really excited about it because they've teased you with it, and then it never comes out. And I think, and then eventually he sees that same kind of teaser image at the video store, and it's like, oh, it finally came out,
Oh, I must have missed it. Oh, wait. No, I didn't.
Right, yeah. How did I miss this movie I was so excited about? Yeah. But
yeah, it was like in between a theatrical movie and a TV movie.
Well, and that's one of the things I feel about this movie, is this would have been, like they were trying to do with the 79 movies leading into a TV series. I think this would have made a good TV series pilot.
Yeah.
Like it reminds me of the 90s Flash TV show.
Okay.
As far as, like, production value seems about the same. The suit is very similar in terms of, like, the material it's made out of, that sort of thing. And I could see this going to a series and, maybe lasting a season, but, I kind of wish that had been the case for it. Yeah. Should we talk about our most villainous and most heroic moments?
Let's do it.
This planet, these people, they are nothing to me.
You were made to be ruled.
The universe is power. You unstoppable power. Come to me, son of Jor-El. Kneel before Zod. And I am that force. I am that power.
In the end, you will always kneel.
Kneel before your master.
Let's start with most villainous.
I think that's an easy one. It's
Okay.
got to be the slaying of Bernie by the Red Skull's
Oh,
daughter.
okay.
That was probably the most brutal part of this whole movie. I mean,
Yeah.
at least, from an emotional standpoint, because you get to see, the aftermath and all that. And then she
it's a gut
eggs
punch.
her on
Yeah.
while she's captured, like talking about how she killed her mom. Like, yeah. So I'm gonna go with the Red Skull's daughter on that one.
Right on. I like the. I think it was through the newspapers when they kind of indicate that Red Skull killed or was behind the deaths of the Kennedys and Martin Luther King. Like I like that idea. Obviously,
You like that idea? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I like that they use real
Yeah.
historic events and attribute them to Red Skull. I like that.
Yeah, it was. He was almost like he may not have done it, but he was behind it. Like
Sure.
kind of like whatchamacallit, what's his face? Charles Manson, like the
guy
behind it, but not actually the trigger person.
Yeah.
I believe there's a hero in all of us
I just finally know what I have to do.
that keeps us honest,
I'm here to fight for truth and justice in the American way.
gives us strength,
You will give the people of Earth an ideal to strive towards.
makes us noble.
And I know in my heart that it's right.
Most heroic.
I'm gonna go with Sharon, where she pulls a Captain America move on him and runs off and sort of gets kidnapped on purpose, so to distract the people chasing them, and then he can. She left his bag of goodies so he could come back and rescue her, obviously, but Still, that's a bold move.
Yeah. Kind of giving him the kick in the ass that he
Yeah.
needed to suit up and be a hero. Yeah. Mine is you kind of mentioned it earlier. It's when President Kimball jumps off the wall.
Oh yeah.
And it's not a Back to the Future 2 moment where Marty looks over the edge and he knows that Doc is there with the DeLorean. This is a complete, like, he just jumps, he's willing to sacrifice himself. Yeah. And then, luckily Captain America is there to catch him, but it's completely it's kind of a hero moment for both of them, obviously. But that was mine.
Notice Captain America's missing. Not a good sign for your hero movie.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So, overall, what do you think about this movie, and what would you rate it?
Overall, I'll never watch it again.
Sure.
It was kind of interesting from like a train wreck perspective, like just seeing all the not so great stuff, and this feels like a how did this get made kind of movie. It's got people in it, like Ned Beatty, like it's got actors in it, like it's not like The Room or something, but it's just not good. And like I don't know what the pitch was for this movie, but basically this is how it goes. We're gonna make a Captain America movie, and he's gonna be going up against the Red Skull guy, and then the Red Skull wants to be president, and Captain America's got a problem with that, and that's pretty much the pitch.
Oh, and for some reason we decided to make Red Skull Italian.
Yeah, I mean, like I don't understand other than the fact that it's Captain America. Maybe that's the only reason. And, it's just I'm gonna give it a 0.5.
Wow, really?
I can't even give it a 1 out of 5 because it's not. It doesn't even feel like a real movie to me. It's just I don't know what it is. It's not. It just doesn't. I felt horrible the whole time I was watching it. I was embarrassed for the people in it. Like it's just. I was like, and it didn't even get released in theaters. It's like, you're trapped in like no man's land here. You got no TV movie. You got no movie. You just came out on video like a Disney sequel that nobody asked for. Like, I just 0.5.
Okay.
Just the car sick thing, I was just so aggravated by. And the fact that they did it twice is just like, do you want to piss me off? Is basically like how I felt. So, sorry.
All right. No. I mean, like I said, there was a lot that I liked about the movie. Some of the tonal elements really worked for me. I thought some of the shots were beautiful, and that probably is partly because of the locations and just having really good, scenery and stuff. Some of the action beats I really enjoyed, and I thought the suit was decent. And like I mentioned, I got lost in a Bond movie, in the second act. So that, to me, worked really well. There's definitely stuff that just does not work in this movie. I also probably will never watch this again for any reason that I could think of. And like I said, I feel like it had made for TV plot kind of throughout the movie. Like it just felt like it should be leading to a TV series that also never came, So it's just, I had enough fun with it that I'm not going to rate it that low. I would give it a 2.
Wow.
I think you and I just have different scales of like what we enjoyed but would never want to watch again. Like, I didn't.
Almost halfway up the rating scale.
That
makes it like maybe I'll watch it again. Like, I don't know. I guess it makes me more appreciative of Captain America now.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
But okay, 2. All right.
Yeah. So a 1.25 overall.
I guess. Yeah.
And that to me doesn't feel off. I can. That seems okay to me. Like it.
I gotta go back and watch the 70s one because I almost feel like that one was better.
Maybe. Let me see what we rated.
Because this one just struck me, and I'm like, I hate this so much.
You gave it's about the same. You gave it a 0.5 also.
Okay, I'm consistent.
I gave it a 2.5.
So I'm the hard ass here, and you're the softy, is what I'm hearing.
I think for me it was like I also gave the same rating to the Punisher movie we just watched, and or no, I didn't. I gave it a 3.5. You gave it a 2.
Yeah, I like the Punisher one.
Yeah.
That felt like a movie. Like,
yeah.
I don't know this. No bueno.
Yeah. Okay, here's a good example. Like I also gave Ghostbusters 2 a 2. I would, if I had to watch either of them, I might watch Captain America over Ghostbusters.
Holy
2. Ghostbusters
shit.
2.
Holy shit.
So
not a chance. You are gonna get so much hate mail. Oh my god. You would take this over Ghostbusters 2.
If I had to pick one to watch, yeah.
Oh my god. This podcast is over. Oh my god, that is the worst take I've ever heard in my life. Oh, you're gonna take a movie that never became a movie over a multi-million-dollar blockbuster follow-up. Granted, not as good as the first, but had a story, had characters, did not include somebody getting sick and going, gotcha, and running into a car, had an ending that wasn't just like, maybe her head just got chopped off. I mean, okay.
Yeah.
Send your hate mail to Travis at he doesn't know what he's talking about at travis.com.
That's correct.
That's a real email address.
Yeah.
Good. I just made it. Oh, gravy. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that is the hottest take on this show ever.
Sure, I think so. I think I'd love to hear from some listeners on kind of what
my Spaceballs take sound sane and rational. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So you're gonna watch Ghostbusters 2 after Captain America 1990.
No, see, that's kind of the thing. I'd be okay if I never see Ghostbusters 2 again ever, because I just don't care about that movie.
Okay.
I would watch this one again in my lifetime.
In my lifetime.
I mean,
that's frozen for 70 years and thawed out. I would watch this again.
That would be the first thing I'd want to do. Yeah.
God. Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
So when they have a marathon of Ghostbuster movies at the theater, you're going to watch the first one, and then you're going to go, excuse me, good sir, could you put on Captain America 1990? That is the correct order that I shall watch this in.
That's the proper viewing order.
Jesus. Oh,
that's right.
God. Okay. All right. Well, you heard it here, folks.
Yeah,
He's lost his mind.
On that bombshell.
Yep.
Should we wrap it up?
Oh, God, please.
All right. So yeah, thanks to Sean Malloy for sending in his thoughts, and we'd love to do that with with stuff in the future. If you want to contribute to the show, you can always email us at realcomicheroes@gmail.com. You can send in MP3 audio thoughts like Sean did. We will include them in the show. But also you can just send us kind of what you think about Captain America, and we'd love to hear. Until then, you can go over to our Facebook group, Real Comic Heroes League of Citizens, and you can agree with me about Ghostbusters 2.
Wow.
Patrick won't see it, so you can say whatever you want about it over there.
Yikes. Yeah, please do send it there. Hide your shame. I don't want to see it. It's disgusting. So, what's the palate cleanser? We get a new year now because Captain America ruined that year for us. So we're coming to another sequel that Travis probably wouldn't want to watch over Captain America.
I think you'd be wrong there.
Okay. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, The Secret of the Ooze.
Oh, yes.
I can't
From
wait to
1991, moving into 91.
That's right. So a little bit of a palate cleanser there.
Yeah, I think so. I think...
It's got its own issues, but we'll see.
Yeah,
it's been a while since I watched it, so...
Sure.
All right.
Yeah, so we will return with... well, actually, next we'll do a comic character review. That will be what we have coming up next, but then the next movie, will be Secret of the Ooze. So...
Go Ninja, go Ninja, go.
New York, a city where 8 million can scarf down their slices in safety, knowing that when pizza is close by, help is never far away.
Any luck finding a new place to live yet?
Well, you know, in this market, it's actually very difficult to find good subterranean housing. You'd think even an idiot could find a place down here. But no! Wow! And I thought all the really good dungeons were in Europe.
The past returns, my son.
Hey, guys, look! That's the canister that had the ooze.
That transformed us all.
Yes. Well, you're the last one, aren't you?
Uh-oh!
Oh, some animals are knocking down the telephone poles.
Let them get their own cab.
The next fight will be freak against freak.
Take the ugly one! No, you take the ugly one! Which one's the ugly one?
Ninja rap.
Huh?
Ninja rap. Go, 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 ninja, go, ninja, go, go, ninja, go, ninja, go,
go, ninja, go, go long! Turtle in the open! Surf's up, dude!
Ninja, ninja rap. Ninja, ninja rap. Ninja,
rock and roll!
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles II.
Cowabunga!
The Secret of the Ooze.
Don't forget, we're turtles!
Thanks for listening to the podcast. Find the show on Facebook and Twitter at Real Comic Heroes. All music and audio are the property of their respective creators.